I could go on all night, but what I'd like to do is have any questions or any comments, and then I'd like to head into the lobby and sign books to you beloved listeners. Any questions, any puzzles, any comments? Yes.
First of all, thank you for sharing your story. And I remember hearing you once share your story about how the Rainbow Gathering started from a vision. And I recounted that story many times to different friends over the years who had no clue. So I hope that story is in your book.
Yes.
Or your other books.
This book, it has a lot of the pages are devoted to the lead up to the first Rainbow Gathering, more than the history of the gatherings after that, and the history of the legal stuff and the social stuff and the ongoing issues. I'm really trying here to point to the roots of our culture, and that story, however I told it, is going to be expanded, and what are those things storytellers do? Embellished right here in this book. Yes, it is. Thank you. Yes?
Well, all peoples are always invited to the Rainbow Gathering each year. You have a belly button, as I recall the story. Wasn't there a year when you personally were not invited? You were not allowed. Was there an injunction or a court order that said, there's one guy in the whole world that can't go, and it's you?
Well, that's a little simplification.
I'm a
but
simple person.
Yes, that's it. But that's going to be in volume 2. That's in volume 2, and that is going to be the story of how, over the years, the various federal agencies fought us for the rights to assemble and picked on a few people and said, basically, if you come here, we will arrest you. And that did not stop us, and we went. And we did some time for having gone. And I must say that in the bigger picture, the larger result of that was we came to a kind of truce where they have figured out how to hassle us mercilessly, but not attempt to close us down or stop us. And that's kind of the bridge we've crossed. We've reached a place where they've accepted our right to assemble on public lands, but they have also devised various ways to hassle people on the way in, and that is a big part of True Stories Volume 2. Yes, it is. Any other questions here? I saw another hand up. Yes?
Tell us how you spend your time when you're not serving free lemonade at a Rainbow Gathering.
I have a gem and mineral business in Santa Fe. I work with the Living Theater. I work with a children's gardening program, and I do whatever I can to support as many other people's causes as I can. But I've managed to raise 3 beautiful kids. I have beautiful honey at the back here, my wife Jenny, without whom this book never could have been completed. Thank you. Thank you, my darling. And I just think that in a lot of ways, we do the work for money jobs that we do. Hopefully it's not something too oppressive, but we do the work for money jobs that we do so that we can do the work for free jobs that are our passions. Yes?
How often do you have rainbow gatherings? And how do you pay for them?
Great questions. The annual gathering in the United States is every 4th of July weekend. It's the first week of July every year. Around the world, which is where really the front end of the growth of the gatherings is right now. That's where the most new and fascinating things are coming together. The next one is coming up in Colombia. Does somebody have the dates? I think it's next week. Yes, Jeff?
It is.
It's next week.
It's this coming June, and I'm actually going to be there with them too.
So there are websites and so forth, and there's like a European gathering and Asia gathering and a South America gathering and a world gathering and a United States gathering, a lot of regionals also. There are regionals, there'll be a NERF regional, a New England Rainbow Family, or I don't know how many a year there are now. Maybe it's a few dozen a year, and probably 15 or more different countries a year. But that may be exaggerated. Maybe it's only 10 different countries a year. But they are frequent. And there's the annual one in the United States, first week of July. This next one will be in Minnesota, Wisconsin. And how we pay for it is, this is a good question. That's what every government official we've ever talked to has asked us. How are you going to pay for this? And I have to say, the government officials have a super hard time with the words voluntary contributions. Everybody pitches in. The key is that there's nobody there paid to park, paid to recycle your garbage, paid to do medical, paid to run an information booth, paid to help with lost children, paid to put in a water system. You do it. And I'd say, in talking about tribes, I think that tribal wisdom has a lot of stuff in it that the nation-state corporate hierarchical pyramidal system doesn't have. And without getting into that, because that's a whole evening itself, but essentially, it's a matter of process instead of position. So nobody is in charge of the water system except the person who brings the freaking water pipe. And nobody is in charge of stretching it out except the people who pick it up and carry it. And if you see a problem, there's a lot of trash on that trail. It is your job to pick that trash up. Now, I think these days you're not going to see the trash on the trail because people aren't dropping it. But if you see a problem, it is suddenly your responsibility to help with it. And this is a remarkable experience for all of us who are used to paying for somebody to collect our trash and paying for somebody to cook our food and paying for somebody to wash our dishes. So I think that's a very particular thing that the Rainbow Gathering has. There is no entrance fee. There is no monetary fund. We pass what's called a magic hat, and you throw money into it if you want to, entirely voluntary. And, there's that old story out of the Bible, the widow who gives a single copper coin is giving a greater percentage of her wealth than the wealthy person who puts in the $100. So everybody contributes, and it's a little like voluntary taxes, if you can imagine such a thing. There you go. Any more questions? Karen.
Yeah, so, this is such a great exercise in reevaluating things that have happened in the past from the long-term perspective, right? So a lot of these events maybe don't carry the weight in isolation, but then when you look back, you see the threads that are connecting them all. And I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to connect these threads, because I think if we can see the threads of the past, how they created positive futures for us now, then maybe we can all trust a little more in the wisdom of the universe that's guiding us on a path that may not be evident to us today, but 30, 40 years from now, for you young folks, I probably won't be alive then, but you'll look back and you will see this same thread, I think, that Garrick has revealed to all of us here tonight, and I wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you. I'm going to illustrate one thread just for a moment that's a story in the book, and then we'll go to mingle, we'll keep the slides running, and we'll go back to the bookstore. In this book, I tell the story of Swami Mami, who just flipped out at one of the gatherings because we were we were recycling from the first gathering. But we took all the garbage, and then we sorted it out, and we brought the glass to the glass place, which was 150 miles away. We brought the copper to the metal place that was 200 miles away. And she said, you're absolutely crazy. We need to separate our garbage at the source. And everybody said, oh, that's so difficult. You're gonna instead of having one place to bring garbage, she said, yeah, we're gonna have 7 places to bring garbage. And she was a yogi gal, so she described the 7 garbage chakras. And we made a chart that was modeled after a living theater chart that Judith put together from Paradise Now. And she made color signs, and we began putting glass in one color and paper and burnables in another color, and compost went in green, of course. And the fact is, I can't prove this, but I think we were probably the first community of 10,000 or more people to source, separate our garbage. And as I say, and this is the essence of the thread, we don't need credit for having done that. We just need everybody to recycle their trash. There we go. Thank you, everybody. Wonderful audience. Thank you, thank you, thank you.